Understanding MPO polarity. In our last video, we talked about the basics of MPO cables, and now we're going to tackle the topic of polarity. It can get a bit confusing, so we'll do our best to simplify it as much as possible. As you know, MPO fiber cables include multiple fiber strands within a single cable jacket. Polarity refers to the positioning of those fiber strands inside the cable and the direction that the signal travels along the fibers. It's sometimes also referred to as mapping or routing. In order for a system to work, it's critical to have proper connections where transmitters are connected to receivers. This concept is fairly easy to understand if we think about a standard duplex LC fiber cable, which has one transmit lane and one receive lane. The concept gets quite a bit more complicated with MPO cables due to the fact that each cable contains multiple fibers. In addition, different applications and use cases require different configurations. This is why there are three types of polarity when it comes to MPO cables: Type A, Type B, and Type C. Before we dive into explaining these, let's take a second to familiarize ourselves with the basics of the MPO connector. Each connector features a key and a white dot to help you determine the orientation of the fibers. When the key is located on top of the connector, this is known as the key up position. In this position, the white dot is located on the left side of the connector to designate where position 1 is located when the connector is plugged in. So in this configuration, the fiber positions go in order from left to right, starting with position 1 on the left-hand side and ending in position 12 on the right-hand side. Starting with this configuration in mind, let's jump into three different types of MPO cable polarities to learn more. Type A cables are also known as straight-through cables. In these cables, position 1 in one connector maps to position 1 in the other connector, and the same is true for all subsequent fiber strands. So position 12 in one connector maps to position 12 in the other. Type B cables are also known as rollover or reversed. In these cables, position 1 in one connector ends up in position 12 in the other connector. Subsequently, the position 12 fiber in one connector becomes position 1 in the other connector. Type B cables are some of the most popular on the market today and are an excellent solution for making direct connections between 40G QSFP, QSFP Plus transceivers, which utilize 4 10G send lanes and 4 10G receive lanes to achieve 40G connections. Type C cables are also known as twisted pair, reverse pair, or crossover. The polarity of these cables is very similar to Type A, straight through, except for in Type C, each pair of fibers is crisscrossed, so the fiber in position 1 on one connector will arrive in position 2 on the other connector. We hope this video has helped you better understand MPO polarity. While Type B polarity is one of the most commonly used, there is no right polarity type. The correct polarity for your network will depend on your specific use cases. Check out our line of MPO cables at CablesAndKits.com.